listening to the Narrative Podcast with Halsey Allen. The Narrative Podcast is changing the narrative one episode at a time.
Hey, what's going on? What's happening, family? Welcome to the Narrative Podcast. The Narrative Podcast is the home of original people peace, original people reciprocity, and original people positivity. The Narrative Podcast promotes positive reinforcement of original people and original people culture, and provides positive frames of reference about original people and original people culture. Welcome to the Narrative Podcast. Welcome all my narrators. So you're now on officially tapped in with the Narrative Podcast, and I am your host, Halsey Allen. Welcome, welcome, welcome. All right. So here we are on this terrific Thursday. So pretty much, man, same thing, different day. You know, you gotta laugh to keep from crying. We're still reeling over the body footage camera, or the body cam footage that was released on our sister Sonia Macy. I'm still a little kind of shaken up. I was going to do an upload yesterday, and I just had to take a little moment to decompress. Still kind of trying to work through it. I can only imagine how her family's feeling right about now. So before diving into the content, or rather how I usually start my podcast off is I give a brief overview of my content, just for full context before diving into the content. So this evening I'm going to, I'm going to walk you through it, but we're going to take a brief moment of silence for our sister and her family, friends, loved ones, associates, to this, sister who needed help and, didn't get any. Mother, gainfully employed, we're just going to take a brief moment of silence for our sister Sonia Macy before diving into the synopsis of the Narrative Podcast. All right, so this is not easy, man. It's not easy at all. I was streaming like half the day yesterday when I saw that footage. Just like I could not stop them from coming down. But we're gonna get through this evening, y'all. So I'm gonna walk y'all through this synopsis of my podcast before diving into the content. So starting off at the top, Tippy, the name, the Narrative Podcast. I named my podcast the Narrative Podcast because I don't like the false narrative that the media weaves about original people and original people culture. I'll get to the original people part a little bit later on in the synopsis, but essentially what I wanted to do to counter that is create a platform where I'm uplifting and edifying our people and putting out positive frames of reference to counter the media's intentional, deliberate misinformation about our people and our culture with their negative frames of reference about our people and our culture. So that's essentially, what birthed the Narrator podcast, why I'm doing that, why I'm doing this, and it's essentially my mission statement as well. So, that's why I decided to do this podcast, just to build a platform where I'm just celebrating all our accomplishments, making it a safe space, promoting, peace, positive reinforcement, talking us up, speaking positivity over our people and our culture, and, encouraging the listening audience to do it as well, bringing awareness to the listening audience of why it's important to responsibly utilize your platforms to put out positive frames of reference about our people and our culture, and encourage the listening audience to do what I'm doing, to put out positive frames of reference about our people and our culture, which is a perfect segue for my tagline, the Narrative Podcast. The Narrative Podcast, changing the narrative one episode at a time by destroying negative stereotypes about original people and original people culture. How do I destroy the negative stereotypes about our people and our culture? By putting positive frames of reference out about our people and our culture. Hence the name, the Narrative Podcast. We're going to change the narrative one episode at a time. So, that's essentially what my podcast is all about. I'm going to walk you through some more misnomers you should know about my podcast to have full context of, what I'm doing and the type of material I'll be presenting to you as the listener. So first and foremost, I refer to my listening audience as my narrators, and I do that because I'm just acknowledging the times that we're living in. We're living in the digital information age. Pretty much everybody has a digital platform. We gather and share information online. Every platform, every platform, every digital platform has a section in which the owner of the page, or the content creator, has a profile in which they can share a little something about themselves, a bio if you will. And so in whatever digital space you occupy, you're essentially telling or narrating your own story about yourself, your hobbies, your interests, your turn-ons, your turn-offs, your cultural background, your upbringing, your values, whatever you like to do in life. People are just online telling or narrating their own stories, and when they're doing it, they're usually, especially content creators, they're usually telling the best story that they can possibly tell about themselves. They're sharing the best photographs. Now, it's going to sound like I'm picking on women right here, but women, they go through a whole thing to get the perfect selfie. They do filters, they do lighting, everything got to be popped before, everything has to pop just right before they upload and share, images. They want to share the best possible version of themselves. When you're sharing your story, you want to show you're outgoing. You want to, share photos at the best restaurants, the biggest gatherings, the most fun places, amusement parks, movie theaters. I did this. I went to go see this. Your life is very exciting on your page, whatever you're presenting to the world. And that's the nature of why I refer to my listening audience as my narrators, because as a people, as original people, we need to be sharing, or we need to be sharing, telling, or narrating the best versions of ourselves, because the media gives the world such a warped, skewed version of us to the rest of the world. So we need to rectify that by uploading positive content, showing us at our best, showing us progressing, succeeding, being leaders, being problem solvers, being pillars in our community, helping each other, uplifting each other, edifying each other, being there for each other in times of need, just basically the antithesis of how the media portrays us out to be, which is the most horrible people on the planet. They portray us out to be, lazy, violent, hard to get along with, hard to, they paint us out like we're beyond reproach and hard to manage, hard to deal with. They want to really paint us out to be like some really unsavory people. So it's up to all of us to, not feed into these negative stereotypes and stigmas that the media places over our people by regurgitating the negative stereotypes and stigmas online. The gangbang culture, the drug dealer, the drug user culture, the violence culture, people posting guns, sitting up there posting your guns, and I'm gonna bust it, I'm gonna let it go. That imagery, we need to banish that. This criminalistic lifestyle, this Don Mafioso lifestyle, this gangbanger lifestyle, we don't need to be glorifying that online. And within our women, sisters, we don't need to be glorifying thought culture, whore culture, hot girl summer, drop it low to the floor. We don't need to be glorifying that and regurgitating that online. That's what, they're cranking out all this propaganda about our people and our culture. So we need to bring it back into focus and share the most positive imagery and tell the most positive stories we can possibly tell. And that's why I call my target listening audience my narrators, because, being in the digital information age, it puts us at an advantage. We're in the unique position to tell or narrate our own stories. And it's important to do so at all times, because if the media or if the history hasn't taught us anything, it's taught us this: if you don't tell your own story will be told for you. And that's precisely what the media is doing. They're telling our story for us, and they're telling an inaccurate story about us. The story they should be telling is the story of our true nature, kings and queens, gods and goddesses of the universe. That's, should always be at the forefront, and all the, the foolishness and the nonsense. It'd be easy to tell when it's just Hollywood laying it on thick. When it comes to our people and our culture, if we be persistent and put out accurate images and portrayals of our people. Next, the Narrative Podcast is a positive space. Like I said, starting out, this is a safe space. This is a positive space. I promote positivity. I encourage, positive reinforcement. I don't do any negative slander, gossip. I don't indulge that. the name calling, the put downs within our people and about our culture. It's all about positivity. It's all about upliftment. It's all about edifying, and it's all about just cheering each other on and putting out the best versions of ourselves at all times. That's what the Narrative Podcast is all about. I encourage our listening audience to do the same. Having said that, though, this is a place of truth. If I do, I never, kick dirt, finger points, try to tear down a brother or sister on this platform. However, I do tell the truth. If I feel a brother or sister is, intentionally misrepresenting our people for monetary gain, then I will call said individual out. That's not the same thing as talking bad about them. It's not the same thing as name calling. The truth is the truth. I do represent that here on the Narrative Podcast. Pretty much. Also, I don't, clout chase. I don't do the clickbait thing. If I do mention a famous person's name on this platform, it's really only to kind of cement a point that I'm trying to make, and I try to frame everything up from like the bigger picture perspective. I deliver commentary on here about current events, whether it's globally, nationally, or just something within our community. And like I said, the purpose of me doing that when I deliver my commentary is just basically to unpack, whatever is going on around the world from our perspective, because the media takes painstaking efforts to make us look as bad as they possibly can, to have us looking and sounding crazy. So every time I'm talking about a famous person, especially a person from our community, I'm framing it up from the perspective of why did this happen, and I can always trace all my speaking points back to why do we behave the way we behave sometimes, and which goes back to we've been systemically programmed and conditioned by society, the media, like it's psychological warfare, how the media is misrepresenting our people and our culture. It's in these negative stereotypes and stigmas about our people is embedded in American culture. It's bad abroad too, but it's really, really bad here in America. It's in movies, it's in television, it's in literature, it's in periodicals, it's in advertisements. This bad portrayal of our people and our culture, and it's it's really just daunting sometimes. It's just like, it weighs heavily on your psyche. And, sometimes once a negative thought is embedded in your psyche, you kind of, on a subconscious level, act on that, that mental cue that's been placed inside of you. It's like, for example, if you tell a child they're stupid all their life, when they become an adult, they will behave unintelligent. Like almost 90% of the time, they'll behave unintelligently. When they mess up or make an error, they'll probably call themselves stupid. So in terms of our people, we're always seeing ourselves downtrodden, disenfranchised, poor, living surrounded by violence. You see, this is like that psychological programming and conditioning by the media. This is what they do. Now there's a couple mediums where, they tell nice stories about us. For example, Good Morning America, they have some pretty, every once in a blue moon, they'll have something inspirational. One of our people, doing something positive that impacts their community and the world. But for the most part, it's drugs, it's alcohol, it's drug, selling, using, it's the ghetto, it's this, and it's stealing, it's being lazy, it's being unintelligent, it's being ignorant, it's being overly boisterous and loud for no reason. This is how we often get portrayed. And this is how, we're programmed and conditioned to respond and react to each other. And then also people outside of our culture, that's how they react to us when they meet us, when they don't know any of us personally. Because that's all they have to go on us by is, what they're seeing on television and in the movies and, all these other sources. So that's how I frame it up. So whenever I'm bringing up a famous brother's name, or famous brother or sister's name, it's never not to, like the clout chase or the, try to get the views and likes and all that. This is just really to, break it down and dissect why that possibly, whatever negative thing they're involved in, why that possibly may have happened. Which goes back to systemic programming and conditioning. That's how I try to, frame up all my analytical points. Next bit of business, the Narrator Podcast. This is a time-sensitive platform. I don't try to exceed 1 hour per broadcast. The purpose of me doing that is because, I'm an all-audio platform. I want to keep my listening audience attentive. I want to keep my listening audience, entertained and focused, and have you pretty much receiving what I'm saying with an open mind. And I can't do that if I'm just, being repetitive, being redundant, talking in circles. Basically, I don't want to bore you to sleep. So I don't want to beat you over the head with the message. I don't want to go down rabbit holes. So I usually just try to keep it short, sweet, to the point. Say what I got to say, mean what I got to have conviction about what I say, and try to have what I say resonate with the listener. And I can't, have the message resonate with you if I'm boring the crap out of you. So that's why I try to, keep it short, because I don't want to have a glorified rant. I want to engage the listener. I want to make my content digestible. You won't have to clear your entire schedule if you miss an episode of the Narrative Podcast here and there. I want people to be quick on the uptake, is basically what I'm saying. I want to engage all intellect levels. Whatever intellect level you're at, I want to engage you. Don't want to have nobody feeling left out. I definitely don't want to dumb myself down, but I want everybody invited to the party. So that's why I try to just, try to keep it as brief as possible. And then before I dive into my last point that you should know about the Narrative Podcast, I want to just, take a moment to quickly just kind of point out why the media invests so much time in, putting out the worst representation of us that possibly can. The media pretty much portrays us in that negative light because, they're ran by the powers that shouldn't be. And who are the powers that shouldn't be? The powers that shouldn't be is elitists, the wealthy elite class. And the wealthy elite class are predominantly white. And so, they want to maintain their superiority over all other classes by, manipulating imagery and pretty much trying to promote capitalism and mass consumerism, just spending money to be spending money. Meanwhile, they don't actually spend any money. They use trust funds, wills, living wills, credit to acquire the air quotes finer things in life. That's why they surround themselves with all these status symbols that the elite class have: the big house, the big fancy car, the vacations. Their lifestyle is just kind of reflective of that old television show, the lifestyles of the rich and famous. That's how they want the whole world to envision what success looks like. That's what success is supposed to look like. You're supposed to have, a whole entire staff waiting on you. You're supposed to have a private chef. You're supposed to have maids, servants in the servants' quarter. You're supposed to have, a home so big you got an east and a west wing. You're supposed to have, designer. This is the lifestyle that they want to push to make themselves feel important. And it's really kind of a bully. It's like Marxism as well. I'm not going to school you about what Marxism is. We're living in a digital information age. You can do your Googles and see what Marxism is. But yeah, that's primarily why they do it. Vilify our people. They want to, cement their position. They're threatened by, our people. Like they do it to everybody. They make everybody look, unsophisticated and unintelligent and unrefined and uncultured next to them. But out of all the people, they do it to our people the most. And the reason why they do it to our people the most is because they fear our people the most. And fear is really kind of a form of jealousy when you think about it. So they fear our people the most because our people, out of everybody else on the planet, I said, we are the most impactful people in the entire world. Every single body in the world wants to be like us, wants to emulate us, wants to posture themselves as us to some capacity, through our music, through our dancing, through our arts, through our food, through our athleticism, through our natural ability for the arts. We're just that influential and impactful that we're just the whole vibe. In any room we're in, we shine. We're the whole vibe. People try to be like us and try to get on our level all the time. And that's not saying we're superior to anybody. That's just a fact. We don't need to surround ourselves with status symbols to be it. just to be that guy, to be that girl. We just naturally that. Eyes is just naturally always on us, anything we do. And they're threatened by that because they've been jealous, since they found out about us. They wanted what we have. So they created all these systems and things to try to make themselves feel important, creating all these systems of government and all these power structures to basically feed their ego, to make themselves feel important. They want to have the power of exclusion and gatekeeping, like this person can make it and that person can make it. That's just that their true nature, that how they are. They're just, by nature, conquerors, thieves. They don't have any culture of their own, so they steal everybody else's identity. But that's primarily why the media picks on our people the most, because elite class society, they're natural historians as well. They're aware of their history and they're aware of our history, and they know without us there would never be a them. We are the direct reason why they have all that they have. We're the direct reason why they have financial wealth, why they have systemic power, because they acquired all that because they were so jealous of us in the beginning. And their biggest fear is, that, we're so impactful and dynamic. We're a natural people. We don't require all the things that they require. And, they're afraid we'll spark a revolution and say, hey, I don't need all this to be happy. I don't need all these things to be happy. I don't need to just spend money just because I have money. So in essence, they're afraid that we will usurp their power in that right, that people would just, follow the natural order of nature. Being the original people that we are, out of everybody on the planet, the most closely linked to nature. So that's just the natural order thing, not to worship objects. So they're fearful that we'll, cause everybody else to, see it how we see it. And then they wouldn't be important anymore. Nobody would pay attention to them. Nobody would want to aspire to be around them, be in their little secret clubs and organizations. So they would fade out of existence. But their biggest fear, this is their biggest fear, what keeps them up at night, what has them they make the hairs on the back of their neck stand up. They're afraid that we as a people, our people, original people, we will stop bickering amongst each other and get on one accord and reclaim everything that they took and everything that they're currently taking from us, and do to them what they've done to us. Yeah, that's why they fear our people so much. They create all this propaganda. They create all these, false portrayals of us, and regurgitate all these negative stereotypes and stigmas and try to make us look like the worst people on the planet, when in reality, they're the worst people on the planet. So last but not least, I know you've been hearing me saying over and over again, original people. I refer to our people as original people. Our people, I mean in black, African American, Negro, whatever you want to call us. On the Narrator podcast, I refer to our people as original. For a couple reasons. Reason number one, it's just historically accurate. We were and are the original people of this planet. We were here about 5,000 years before every single being on this physical plane existed. So yeah, that's an accurate nod to who we are. We're not black. Black is like a color in the crayon box. Some of us are very darkly complected, but that's like mahogany if you really want to be real. It's not black. Like some of us are so dark skinned, we got it seems like we got a purple tint to us, but it's not black, it's purple, right? But anyway, it's more historically accurate about who we are as a people. We come in a variety of flesh tones. We hail from different land masses. We're original. Nothing beats the original. We was here first. And then the second reason why I refer to our people as original people is because there are many different types of us from many different parts of the world, speaking different languages, believing in different religions, spiritual practices. We have all these, differences among us, but some common factors that we have, some common, ties that bind us together is that we are all original people. We were all here first. We can all trace our lineage back to the original point of origin for all mankind. Like all mankind came from us, and it was on one specific land mass that they found the remains of the first person on Earth. And we can all trace our lineage back to that point of origin. And then, we all possess high concentrations of melanin also. The highest concentrations of carbon, aka melanin. So that's why I refer to our people as original, as a way to unify us as a people. Because we refer to ourselves as different titles and, but at the end of the day, we're all original, no matter what we call ourselves, whatever nationality we claim or whatever. We're all original people. Now, one more thing I want to quickly point out before diving into the content this evening, which goes back to us being original people. I say this on every segment, I gotta just debunk this false narrative that keeps on being perpetuated about our people through history. Some historians that don't look like us want to make slavery the most crucial, impactful time about our people. They want to link slavery to our people. While slavery really did happen, it was a very real thing. It was a very violent thing. Barbarous, barbaric. It really did happen. It's just a whole lot of inaccuracies about it. Because as I said, we are the original people. So being here originally, what you just think we was all just in one spot, we was on every single corner of the globe. We had a whole existence before the transatlantic slave trade. We was already located, in Asia. It was already located in Europe. It was already in Australia, Germany. Hell, even the North Pole and the South Pole was already there. Any place on the planet you can name, there was a large concentration of our people. And we didn't get to all them places via the slave ship. We existed before slavery. We didn't, it's impossible just to say, our entire existence was based on slaves. They took, they went from one, which is also another fabrication, because that's like, if you use critical thinking, that's nearly impossible. For hundreds of years, you just kept going to the continent of Africa, all throughout the transatlantic slave trade, all throughout Spanish-speaking nations, and taking African slaves to Europe and all, Spain and Puerto Rico and Dominica and, the DR and, England and here in America. That's just, it's impossible if you think about it. Especially here in the Americas. The majority of us was already here. Some of us did come over on slave boats. Some. Keyword some, not all of us. So I just want to point that out. We had a whole entire existence before slavery, and that was not the most critical era in our existence. We pretty much created everything. Everything can be traced back to us. We pretty much invented everything. We got thousands of years of receipts of everything we did, but even though they try to wipe us out from history, one thing about history is you can't erase it. Anywhere, like the artwork tells you, the pictures on the wall, the statues tells you where we roamed, where we was at. Look at the artwork, look at the statues. Does the statues look like the people that live there, or do they look like us? But anyway, I didn't mean to get too long-winded. I just wanted to just point out that false narrative about slavery. And now on to, the beginning. If I glazed over anything, I'm over 300 episodes in. It's really not too hard to keep up. Just remember to download this episode and all previously recorded episodes of the Narrator Podcast, wherever you get your podcast information from. All right, so keeping it tight, we're going to dive on in to this weekday edition of the Narrator Podcast. Keep in mind, I have two different format styles. I have a weekday format style and I have a weekend format style. So you can browse through my episode catalog and, you can figure out the difference between my weekend format and my weekday format for yourselves. But this is the weekday edition of the Narrative Podcast. And what I do here is I stay true to my mission statement to put out positive frames of reference about our people and our culture. And the positive frames of reference about our people and our culture for the weekday edition of the Narrative Podcast comes in the form of news articles. And I feel the need to share positive news articles about our people and our culture because, like I said, The media psychologically tries to program and condition us to believe, and people outside of our culture to believe, that nothing positive ever happens in our communities. It's all gloom and doom. Nobody is, it's just like a big trap. Nobody ever makes it out. And, it's always some type of messiness. It's always some type of violence, some type of strife, some type of suffering. So to negate that, that's why I share positive news articles proving positive things do happen in our community, that we are, leading the charge in, advancement, that we are progressing as a people, that we do give back, take care of our own, and develop solutions to all these problems that the government, or this AKA the system, throws at us. So yeah, so me sharing the positive news articles is just basically like a big take that to the powers that shouldn't be. It's basically me just pulling out receipts that, what you see on TV about us, the negative things you see on TV about us is a lie. So, having said that, on to the first positive news article on this weekday edition of the Narrative Podcast. First article, the headline reads, "Childhood best friends for 22 years celebrate graduating from law school together." I said law school like that because, I spaced it apart and I'm sitting at an awkward angle, just if you was wondering. So the two sisters in question are one Miss Ashley M. Davis and her cohort Tiavana Williams. They both graduated cum laude from American University Washington College of Law. That article was real short. It didn't list their majors and when they graduated high school. That was just it. That was the headline, and that's all it said in the article. So, but other than that, that's a tremendous accomplishment, noteworthy to share, and just a very good positive frame of reference about our people and our culture. So please, we're going to extend a warm narrative podcast round of applause for our sister Ashley and Tiana for graduating cum laude. All right, next up, positive news article on this weekday edition of the Narrative Podcast. The headline reads, Dr. Fanae Pettigrew, I hope I'm saying this sister's name right, makes history as first black woman to own the block on Baltimore's waterfront. Dr. Pettigrew is a multimedia professional and CEO of Root Branch Media Group. Her company was named that after her family property located on Root Branch Road in South Carolina. She got her start in media after earning her bachelor's degree from the University of Maryland College Park. She also interned as a speech writer for Bill Clinton on the political news show on Capitol Hill. The article later goes on to say she became a self-taught script writer and produced content for TV One and the Discovery Channel. She's also made history as the first sister to own her own block on Baltimore's waterfront property on Canton Harbor. So that is those are some impressive accomplishments. So it's like she wears many hats. She's also an author. She's also a serial entrepreneur. She's also a motivational speaker. And the list goes on. But to check out, her business, you can go on over to rootbranchmediagroup.com. They offer an array of services, such as their own film academy, providing film and digital media arts instruction to the youth in grades K through 12. So go on over there, create a plan, design and redefine, and share your vision. At rootbranchmediagroup.com. And let's give our sister, Dr. Vanya Pettigrew, a Warm Narrative Podcast, round of applause for all of her accomplishments. Kind of noticing the theme. It's all sisters this week. I usually have a mix, but for some odd reason it was all sisters. I don't know. That might be the universe trying to say something. I think this is my last article for this evening. The headline reads, Allison Felix teams up with Pampers to create first ever nursery for athlete moms at the Paris Olympics. Allison Felix has won 11 medals in her entire Olympic career. It didn't say what medals. I'm guessing gold medals. I didn't do the stats. I just want to make a quick sidebar. I want to just quickly shout out our brother Noah Lyles and our sister Sha'Carri Richardson. They are really tearing it up in the Olympics this year. Special shout out to our sister Sha'Carri Richardson. She has come full circle from, her whole debacle a few years ago. She's, turned a complete 180 from where she was. She's wearing her natural hair. She just, she's being a real inspiration. Nothing more inspiring than self-accountability. And she's really walking that for the last couple and looking real good out there on that track. Doing the home team proud. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah. But anyway. So our sister Allison created a nursery for the athlete moms participating in the games. Her sponsor is Pampers. Her and Pampers also got together and have donated 1 million diapers to support preemie families at children's hospitals nationwide in America. So they didn't say what specific, hospitals. It just said, they donated over 1 million Pampers for families who had premature births. So very noteworthy, you know, very selfless and serving the purpose. And, you know, people forget that people participating in those Olympic Games, they are just normal people. They have lives, and mommyhood is one of them. So they don't stop being moms just because they got to go do some track and field events for our country. So yeah, please join me in giving our sister Alice and Felix a warm Narrator podcast round of applause for her accomplishments. It don't get much more positive than that, y'all. Narrative podcast always showing, providing positive frames of reference about our people and our culture, and I'm encouraging you, the listening audience, my narrators, to utilize your platforms to do the same. So now here's the current events section of the Narrative podcast, which I refer to as my speaking points. So, you know, first up, let's it's really just one point that I'm kind of stitching it around. Up first is Kamala Harris. And so if you've been paying attention, class, what did I say in the beginning? I don't speak negatively about our brothers and our sisters ever, but I do tell the truth, the whole truth and nothing but the truth. So I don't try to call names. I don't try to drag people through the mud, but I do tell it how a TI is. And I'm about to tell it how a TI is about Madam VP, or quite possibly next president, Madam President of the United States, Kamala Harris. So, you know, she done pulled a Houdini on us. We ain't heard a peep out this lady since the beginning of the campaign trail. We heard, "We did it, Joe," and not a peep. Not a peep since. Oh, correction. One of her first interview junkets while they were campaigning, when she wasn't even in the White House yet, she said, and I'm paraphrasing, "I'm not going to do only for the black community. I'm not going to do anything just only for the black community." You're not going to do anything only for the black community, but you know, you're basing your whole campaign strategy around the black community. The black community was, you know, if this, personally I believe politics is all a finesse, but the black community was responsible for even getting you on the ballot, and that's the thanks we get. Okay, that's what we doing. All right, Kamala. All right, that's how we doing. That's how it is. Got you. I mean, I'm not trying to preach at you. Whatever your political affiliation is, you can vote for whomever you like. Presuming that you believe voting actually works. But when you vote, my people, take emotions out of it. Take emotions out of it and look at policy and look at legislation and weigh the facts before you mark down who you're going to vote for. And does this person deserve your votes? Now, I don't believe either, party deserves my vote, because neither party has anything in legislation for just only our people, But, sometimes you got to call a spade, and quite frankly, here's the bottom line. Class, can you say Patsy? I knew that you could. Kamala Harris is the Democrat Party's Patsy. She signed up for it. That's why every time we see her on television, she dancing, she smiling, she laughing, because she got the bag. She's going to get the bag regardless. If she don't get elected, she's getting the bag. But she knows she's not going to get, she knows she's not going to be a president. This isn't just me being negative. This is just me being observant. We ain't never had a female president. We will not be the first country to have a female president. You know why? Because the United States has enemies. None of our enemies have female leaders. No other state in the free world has a female at the helm making decisions for the entire nation. If we had a female president, our enemies would take that as a sign of weakness, and you better believe it'll be the first time in history U.S. soil will be invaded. And that's not saying a woman is incapable of doing the job. That's not saying a woman is, inferior to her male counterparts. This is just the facts of life. This is just nature. Democrat, Republican, all parties in between, they're not going to let that happen. Whether she was black or white, it wouldn't have happened. Like, we knew Clinton wasn't going to win. Hillary Clinton, my bad, had a little brain fart. We knew Hillary Clinton wasn't going to win for that same reason. Kamala Harris, she can partner up with Michelle Obama. She still ain't going to win. She can partner up with any female running mate she wants to. She's not going to win. She can partner up with any male running mate. She's not going to win. She knows she's not going to win. They already told her she's not going to win. Her party already told her she's not going to win. It's just a big finesse, y'all. So while y'all sitting up there dedicating your timelines and trying to endorse something that's not going to happen, like we ain't even paying attention to the context clues. She don't even have all the funding yet. That ought to be a telltale sign. It takes money to run a campaign for the presidency. She still has not even, the Democratic Party still has not even raised all the necessary funding for, Kamala. Joe been a done deal. That's why he dropped out. He tried to say C-19. He already knew the deal. He didn't want to lose. He tried to blame it on C-19. It might have been. Well, that's another interesting point that I can bring about later. I don't want to get too long-winded with this. But bottom line, she's not going to win. And it's not me being a hater saying, she's not qualified for the job. This is just saying facts. She's not going to win. She knew she wasn't going to win. She knew she wasn't never going to be a president when she partnered with Biden. Do you know these things are contrived? Do we forget about the electoral voting college? All these policies and legislation, they're already in place no matter who wins it. No matter who wins it. So when they're elected, all they're doing when they get in office is going over legislation and policy that was already there when they got there. They're not making no new changes. Capitol Hill makes all the changes. Was we not paying attention in government class? They propose all the laws. Now, the commander-in-chief, they can, they can launch executive orders. They could, they can grant amnesty. They can grant, what do you call that? Like people incarcerated. They can grant pardons. They can do a filibuster. It's a few things they can do, and their biggest thing is they're commander-in-chief in times of war, so they can push the button if they want to. They can say whom we attack and when we attack. But essentially, all our laws and legislation, they're already made up. Before, the president gets in the White House, they're already, all that is ready to go, and all they're doing is saying, which ones they're going to tackle first. So, out of all their campaign promises, that's all it is a campaign promise for the most part. And so, we get down to the wire, we got to decide, who do we want? A known enemy or an unknown enemy? What do we want? A true enemy or a false friend? That's our choice. The orange guy is definitely a known enemy. Kamala says she's our friend, but she never did nothing friendly for us. So, the choice is yours. I ain't going to be online telling you who you should and shouldn't vote for. I'm just saying what's before us. We definitely have bigger fish to fry. And she's not even a guppy in the skillet. She wouldn't even, she's not even worth dredging to put in the skillet. So now what I meant is now about Biden. He steps down. He says he's stepping down for C-19. He contracted C-19 right before the election. And then we know we've been having natural disasters. We know we've had times of war. And we know we've had, different streams of that thing. We know we've been having some things happening with our food supply. And where am I going with all this? All these things happened right before, the world shut down. And I think we should all be gathering perishable food items and getting a higher ground strategy and be prepared for the BS, because some BS is about to pop off. What will bring my theory all the way into full fruition would be, when we start seeing other countries, go back to the mask mandate, or, do some severe measures as last time. Because like all the factors are there. If you look, all the factors are there. All the exact same things that's happening right now happened right before the world locked down. And then we just had that big cyber attack. Yeah. So I'm not a know-it-all. I don't think I know everything, but it's a pretty good sound theory. It's something to really be cautious of and not dismiss. It's definitely in the realm of possibility, because history, what do we know about history? It can and does repeat itself. And when it wasn't the first time that ever happened in world history either. That's all I got to say about Mr. Biden. And last but not least, we got to address the elephant in the room. Our sister, Sonia Massey. So it's like so many, it's giving so many slain vibes. Like it's giving Breonna Taylor vibes. It's giving George Floyd vibes, because it was right in front of our face. Like he didn't even try to hide his disdain toward our sister. Like he did not want to be there anyway. You see how flipped and arrogant he was talking. Now they're saying she has severe mental health issues, paranoid schizophrenia. But for those that have watched the body cam footage, for her to be suffering from all those things, she was very subdued in the body cam footage. She didn't make any sudden moves. She was very monotone. Now, a person that's suffering from, schizophrenia, they're all over the place. Their emotions are usually all over the place. They're loud and, jittery and jumpy and slamming stuff. She wasn't doing any of that in the tape. She wasn't doing any of that. She was calmly, rationally speaking to them, welcoming them into her home, and they did what they did. And then the other officer, he actually tried to get her some medical attention, and that filthy beast, I called him a filthy beast because that's the true nature of his people, warlike. That filthy beast Told the dude, at this point, you can go ahead, but for what? That was a headshot. You can't clean her up. She gone. No remorse. No empathy. Because he didn't want to get some hot water on her. Because he thought she was going to throw some hot water on her. When the water was already boiling when they entered the house. And she's the one that called him. She was cooking. She was already cooking something. She could, like, the hot water could have been for tea. It could have been for some, like, she might have been whatever. It wasn't for him. She wasn't going to throw it on you, bro. She even, at one point, she even backed away from the hot water to show him she wasn't. She said, I rebuke you in the name of Jesus. Now, is that or is that not a demonic force, my religious family? My spiritual family? Was that not a demonic entity? Because only a true demon could spawn chaos in that moment. He has no remorse in his face. His mugshot has no remorse. He's not sorry. So I called it over the summer when one of our sisters got attacked in, I believe it was Florida or somewhere. I can't remember the exact headline, but the sister had got attacked by a white, I call them delusionists, a white supremacist. It was over the summer, like going into fall. And I said on one of my old episodes that this is the kickoff. There wasn't no random occurrence. You know, that's how they do. That's the signal. They got the signal, and we're going to start seeing more attacks on our people more frequently. And then lo and behold, this happened. And before that happened, it was Roger Fortson. And then there had been a stream of them in between. We just don't notice it because, you know, life's happening. You know, we got stuff to do, bills to pay. You know, now that everything's open and everything's not locked down anymore, we can't notice all the things happening in our community because there's just so much other stuff they throwing at us. Primarily celebrity gossip. We spent damn near 3 months talking about, and some content creators are still talking about, Mr. Take That. Still. We're about to go into the fall. People still talking about that. No arrest, no conviction, but people still talking about what he is, what he might be. He say, she say. You know, we can't stay focused on stuff like this that matters. Because we focused on celebrity gossip. That's how they always get us. And then we gravitate towards it like, you know, moths to a flame. That's exciting to us. Like, you know, we're like insects sometimes. You know how the mosquitoes like are flying to the bug zapper. That's what we're doing. We're flying into the bug zapper. They put out things intentionally to misdirect their main itinerary, their main agenda, and we gravitate towards the things that they intentionally put out that we shouldn't be paying attention to, and we get shot every time. We get shot in the foot every time. We get shot every single time. But that was horrendous, to say the least. It's more horrendous that there's like, the community is split. There's actually people saying that the policeman was justified. He has literally an arsenal of non-lethal ordnance at his disposal. She is a woman, he's a man. She cannot overpower him. She did not have any weapons. He could have tased her, he could have stun gunned her, pepper sprayed her, even old school billy club. They got collapsible graphite staffs. They even got rubber tip bullets. So many other non-lethal ways they could have handled that if he felt threatened, air quotes threatened. And in this guy's track record, he's been fired from 6 other precincts in the last 4 years. 6 other precincts in the last 4 years. He was not supposed to be doing this job. So I know she's going to get financial justice because, our brother Brent Crump, he's on the job. And anytime, something's foul going on in the community, if he's involved, it's almost guaranteed the family's going to get something. Now, does there something compared to their loss of their loved ones? Heck no. But it probably would have got swept in under the rug had it not been for pardon me, trying to get it together. I'm gonna need a second. Had it not been for the body cam footage. So we got to figure out a way to break up this brotherhood of the badge type ish, because we literally had training day in front of our face. Like the rookie cop was scared to say something. He was trying to he was there, he watched it, he didn't yell out. He didn't tell the guy to stand down. It just, wow. Yeah, so he did what he did, man. Killed that sister. Unalive that sister, pardon me. I don't know, I can't blurt it out, but, and it's never going to get any better until we make it better. They're not going to make it better for us. We're going to have to get to a point where we're unfearful to like get in their face when we see them doing something foul, because they're going to start picking us off one by one. Now, for our white friends, we don't want it to get to that point. We don't want it to get till that we had enough, because you know what happened the last time when we had enough. So my white friends, my Spanish friends, my Asian friends, my Middle Eastern friends, all y'all better use y'all's voices before we lose our patience. Because we're not going to keep being patient and trust in the process. Because they don't listen to us when we say stuff. So we don't want it to go back to that. Somebody better start speaking up. So that's all I really have to say about that. I mean, it's not really more that I can say about it. We saw it with our own eyes. Like, if you didn't need a moment or two to yourself when you saw that footage, if you saw that footage, like, I know you hear my voice trembling now, my eyes watering up. You have no soul. You're dead inside. Or you really kind of clearly support what the police officers did. We're the only people to get treated like this here. Not saying police brutality doesn't happen to other races, but it happens to us the most. And that's a fact. And you know how it gets deflected that it happens the most? They deflect it by saying we unalive each other at a disproportionate rates, when in reality there's no such thing as black crime. Crime's crime. Anywhere you get any group of people that look like each other, they're going to commit crimes against each other. And that's a fact. But when we get unalived by the police, it always, most of the time, it gets swept up underneath the rug. If it's not for cell phone footage or that body cam, it would have got swept up under the rug and not talked about. But every time we do something bad, you know, we got to hear about it for a year. If it's one of our people committing a crime against somebody from outside our community, oh, we hearing about that all year round for like 4 or 5 years. We committed crime against somebody within our community, you know, we don't hear about it again. We're just like, news at 11. Dante, unalive, come on. You know? Keisha Jenkins, unalive Marquita. You know, and it's a week long, about 2-3 days max. You don't hear it when it's, you know, when we commit crimes against each other. We don't really hear it. It's not but when we commit crimes outside of our community, oh, it's in constant rotation. It's reported heavily. That goes back to that psychological programming and conditioning I was talking about. That's how they use the media to vilify our people. And then it doesn't help it when we get celebrities within our community saying we unalive each other at a disproportionate rate when that's not accurate. They really get on platforms, talk about we kill each other more than any other race. No, we don't. No, we don't. Now, what the accurate thing you should say is, law enforcement kills us more than any other people. That's what you should be saying. Yeah, we're violent towards each other. We've been programmed and conditioned to behave that way, to respond and to react to each other in that manner. And then I'm going to go off on a quick little side tangent and wrap this thing up to all my scholarly brothers and sisters, my super educated brothers and sisters who point out there's no such thing as racism. Racism is a social construct. I want to say to you, you're absolutely correct. It is a social construct. And what is a construct? A construct is a concept. What's a concept? A concept is a theory. But now, that construct, that theory, is now a reality. It's real. So when they created this racism stuff, it was a theory in the beginning. It is now a reality. Because not only is America the most divided, country in the world, but the world in general is divided. Division. Everybody sticks to everybody. So when they created the notion of racism, categorizing people, they was on to something. And unfortunately, with this little social construct, our people got hit the hardest with it. Because when they was constructing their theory, they beta tested it on us. So yeah, while y'all sitting up there talking about it's just a social construct, take your intelligent, super enlightened, intelligent self with that same mentality. Go deep down south at nighttime and drive down, an old dirt road and see how much of that social construct that doesn't exist and see if them law enforcement officers that get behind you don't exist. Or better yet, go to a residential suburban area and see that social construct and test out that social construct theory if you want to. So it's real in the field. We got to be aware. We got to know our rights. We got to protect ourselves. I can't even say don't give them a reason, because literally they have no reason at this point. They don't have a reason to do nothing to anybody, to us. Like, it's sad, man. It's sad. It's really sad. She literally said, I rebuke you in the name of Jesus, and that happened. Like, that's crazy. So like I said, I don't really have any more of a different perspective. I can't say anything that you haven't heard like 8 million other content creators cover since it's been around. The only thing I'm hoping from this is that, within our community, we don't get exploitive, because it seems like everybody's doing a TikTok, everybody's doing a YouTube channel, putting their 2 cents in, trying to break down and assess and unpack what happened. It's like, yo, bro, we saw the body cam footage. Now we need solutions. And then also to like respect the grieving family and don't capitalize off their loss. I mean, it is current events, but we don't need to be exploitive in this time. We need to be respectful of the grieving family. It's like we got to put out the knowledge that these things happen, but then also when we put out, bring awareness to the situation, we have to be respectful too. And some of y'all is just downright exploited. And I ain't got to say, the content creators is doing it. Some of y'all is downright exploited. So, like, that's all I'm saying. Like, bring awareness, but then also be respectful to the family, because this is a very tumultuous, traumatic time for them, and just keep that in mind. Just keep that in mind when you're delivering commentary on this very delicate topic. Well, that's it, and that's all. I'm going to wrap this thing up. I think I may do another weekday edition tomorrow. So, join me. If I don't upload something tomorrow, definitely join me this weekend for a full edition of the Narrator Podcast, weekend edition, which is slightly different from my weekday. I have more sections on my weekend edition. Yeah, so in closing, I just want to say, RIP to our sister that got taken from us, Sonia Massey. I also want to shout out a few more that we might have forgot, because so much stuff been happening. Atron Jefferson, Sincere Pierce, Angelo Crew, and even though it wasn't a police officer, I'm pretty sure the outcome would have been the same had law enforcement came to the scene. Our brother Devontae Mitchell. So just and then of course, even though supposed justice had got administered to our sister Breonna Taylor, we can never ever forget that and never stop saying her name. I mean, I think that was the whole campaign that brought these police officers to justice, to say her name campaign. We gotta just remember to make a note to say, all our slain brothers and sisters' names every time these filthy beasts get out of line. And then I definitely can't forget about my brother Roger Fortson. But yeah, this episode is definitely a wrap. Join me either tomorrow or this weekend for another edition of the Narrative Podcast. Thank you for all the love, supports, and the love, healing energy to all our slain brothers out there who have been slain at the hands of law enforcement. It's a corrupt, vile system. Law enforcement is just an extension of, what's already in place. So we got a big battle, Like I said, join me this weekend for another full edition of the Narrative Podcast. But to stay up to date with the most recent episodes of the Narrative Podcast, what you want to do is follow me on YouTube. And I'm Halsey Allen on YouTube. You want to hit the subscription button, notification all, and then you'll be informed with the latest edition of the Narrative Podcast as I broadcast every single weekend. So this platform that I'm broadcasting on right now, it automatically uploads to YouTube. So YouTube, and another good source is X, because it automatically uploads to X as well when I'm done broadcasting. Halsey Allen, and I stay good at Halsey Allen on X. So yeah, and you'll always be up to date if you follow me on either of those two mediums, YouTube or X. And remember to download this episode and all previously recorded episodes of the Narrative Podcast, and other things you can do for the algorithm. You can click the little heart-shaped like button, the little 3 buttons to share it on all platforms. And then, for goodness sake, leave me a comment. They got a comment box on, the link to the Narrative Podcast. It's a comment box. You can write a little comment wherever you see the link at. And then the best place to do that, to do all those options, is to follow me on X. When you click the link to the Narrative Podcast, when you see it, the Narrative Podcast on X, it has the like button, it has the comment box, and it has the share button. So do all of that. But yeah, whatever you do, click the little downward arrow, the download button. If you don't do any of those other options, click the download button. For sure, another thing I want to plug, I've written a book titled The Black Card. It's available on poetizer.com. And the name of my book is called The Black Card. And if you're unfamiliar with poetizer.com or Poetizer, what that is social it's a social media platform for writers. It's interactive. You can the people of that community can interact with each other, read each other's work, offer resources and all that, but the biggest thing is they have a feature which will allow the novice writer, it's basically for the novice writer, the opportunity to, pursue professional writing by turning their work into a book. They have a feature where you can turn your work into a book. They have a virtual online bookstore for everybody on that on that particular social media site, and it just displays books of everybody that made a book from their work that they shared. So yeah, go check mine out, and it's for all writing genres. People that like to write short stories, novels, even essay writing and blog journaling is encouraged on that site, but it especially appeals to poets. It's in the name, Poetizer. So that's what I did. I wrote a book of poetry, and it's titled The Black Card. It's a 30-page book of poetry. It's an all-encompassing look of who we are as a people. Just everything we go through, all the nuances about our culture, our way of life, our way of thinking. Just 30 pieces indicative of who we are as a people. If you're an original man, an original woman, when you read one poem, you'll automatically resonate with it. and it'll resonate with you. You know, you can definitely relate to it. People outside of our culture, they can still enjoy it if they consider themselves open-minded and progressive and like learning about different people, different cultures and different people. You know, that's a good read for you. But go check it out. It's on poetizer.com. It's called The Black Card. Go to poetizer.com, visit their virtual online bookstore, and purchase my personal book of poetry, The Black Card, by me, Halsey Allen. Purchase your copy of The Black Card today, or get your Black Card revoked. And then last but not least, I got a personal poetry blog on blogger.com. And what that is a collection of all my poetry that I've accumulated over the years. Since I started the poem, I started the blog, I think I started in like, I think I started in 8, 9. But definitely go check that out. What's unique about that blog site is, you know, all the poetry that I have posted on that, I spontaneously write it in the moment. I didn't contemplate on the subject matter. I didn't contemplate on what I was going to title each piece. I mean, just like literally just came to me. Everything that I wrote is crazy because the pieces are so detailed, intricate, and intentional. If one was to read, you know, a poem on that blog, they would think that, you know, I like did some sort of drafting or some type of pre-writing before I posted it, but I didn't at all. I swear to you, on like any type of religious track, you know, it was all spontaneously written in the moment, you know, and that's what makes that poetry unique. It's comparable to like a spoken word poem or a freestyle rap, except I wrote it, so you know, but it's still like spontaneous, that spontaneous energy behind it. But yeah, you're in for a treat. Go to blogger.com and check out my personal poetry blog. It's called hallziespoetrycorner, and the web address is www.mrhallziesblogs.com, and you can support it simply by sharing the link to Halsey's Poetry Corner or a poem featured on Halsey's Poetry Corner across all platforms. And then, of course, click that little heart-shaped like button. For the love of God, when you come on the site, leave me a comment in one of my poetry pieces. And then, of course, share either the link or a poem featured on the blog across all platforms. Now, my tip for people to occupy a visual platform such as YouTube or TikTok, you might have to kind of do a shout out type of deal to support. You might have to say, hey, I like this poem on Halsey's Poetry Corner. It's titled, you know, whatever. Just saying, on YouTube or TikTok. You might have to shout it out like that. Not trying to get no free pub, I'm just letting you know the ways to support. Yeah, go check those out on Halsey's Poetry Corner on blogger.com at www.mrhallziesblog.com, and the tagline for my poetry blog is Halsey's Poetry Corner, poetry with a passion, poetry for all occasions. And when you read one of my poems, you will see that they definitely live up to the tagline, because I literally have a poem for every single occasion you can think of. So yeah, go check those poems out on Halsey's Poetry Corner. That's all that I have to promote. So this episode of the Narrative Podcast is officially over. Thank you all for tuning in. We're all a family. You know what I'm saying? Love, light, healing energy over everything you got going on in your life right now. We could definitely, it's all hands on deck so we can change the narrative. I'm Halsey Allen. I'm changing the narrative one episode at a time. I'm asking you to, join my crusade to change the narrative by becoming a narrator. And while I'm changing the narrative on my end, one episode at a time, as a narrator, you can help me change the narrative on your end, one social media post at a time. Until next time, Halsey Allen, the Narrative Podcast, signing off. And it's like that.
Listening to the Narrative Podcast with Halsey Allen. The Narrative Podcast is changing the narrative one episode at a time.